When my wife, Emily, told me she was pregnant, I made a promise to build a life where she and our child would never have to worry about safety again. I'd spent 10 years saving, working double shifts, cutting corners on everything that didn't matter, just so I could buy a quiet home in Florida. When I finally signed the papers for our house in Ravenwood Pines, I thought we'd found peace. The brochure called it a safe, family oriented community with active HOA management. Those words sounded comforting then. I had no idea they'd come to haunt us later. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. The first few weeks were everything I hoped for. Palm trees swayed in the afternoon breeze, the neighbors waved when we drove by, and Emily spent her mornings on the porch, sketching baby room ideas with that glow that only expectant mothers have. She was 6 months along, just starting to slow down a bit, her hands always resting protectively on her stomach. Every night, I'd rest my hand there too, feeling those tiny kicks and believing this was the start of something right. Then came the knock. Two men in black vests with HOA printed across the front showed up one morning. The first one was tall, bald, and wore mirrored sunglasses like he was on some kind of mission. The other hung back, clipboard in hand, pretending to take notes. Routine property check, the tall one said. We've had reports of non-compliant exterior fixtures. I frowned. Fixtures? The house was approved when I bought it. Who reported it? He just shrugged. We don't disclose that information. Emily stood behind me, her belly visible under her loose blue dress. Do you have identification? The clipboard guy hesitated, then flashed a flimsy paper badge. Nothing official. My gut told me something was off, but I didn't want to make trouble. Emily whispered, "Let it go. It's not worth it." So I did. They walked around the side of the house for a few minutes, pretending to inspect, then left a yellow slip on my door. Warning. Unauthorized structure. Shed. That shed had been there since the previous owner built it. But fine, I thought it was a clerical mix-up. I took photos, emailed the HOA office, and went about my day. 2 days later, another notice appeared. Violation, improper mailbox size. Then another, lawn height exceeds HOA standard. Each one signed by Inspector D. Cole, the bald guy. When I brought it up at the next HOA meeting, Karen Mercer, the association president, brushed it off with a polished smile. Our inspectors are thorough, she said. If they made an error, we'll review it. Her tone told me she wouldn't. After that, the men began circling the neighborhood more often, their white truck idling near my driveway. Emily noticed too. One night, she said softly, "They're watching us, aren't they?" I told her not to worry, that I'd handle it if they ever stepped out of line. I meant it as reassurance, but deep down, I already felt something brewing, because peace doesn't knock twice, and when it leaves, it never goes quietly. The second visit came 3 days later. Early morning, sun barely over the trees. Emily was on the porch watering her ferns, humming softly, wearing one of my old t-shirts. 6 months pregnant, moving slower now, her hand always resting protectively on her belly. That's when I heard it, tires crunching on the gravel. Same white truck, same two men. They didn't bother to knock this time. The bald one, D. Cole, jumped out first, a clipboard under one arm and a sledgehammer in the other. His partner followed close behind, pretending to check something on his phone. I stepped outside, blocking their path. "What are you doing here again?" Cole smirked. "Final enforcement. You ignored the citation. We're removing that illegal shed." I planted my feet. "That shed's been approved and registered since before I bought the house. You've got no authority to touch it." I moved between them. "There's no HOA authority to trespass on private property with a weapon. You're leaving, right now." He laughed under his breath. "You think your little suburban laws mean anything to us?" That's when it happened. He lunged forward and shoved me hard in the chest. I lost my footing, stumbled backward off the porch, and hit the ground flat on my back. The impact drove the air from my lungs. I heard Emily cry out my name, her voice breaking with fear. Cole turned toward her. "You gonna move, lady, or I make you?" He climbed the steps, grabbed her wrist, and shoved her shoulder. Emily fell hard, landing on her side. The watering can rolled across the deck. I saw her hand go to her stomach. Something inside me snapped. I scrambled up, vision tunneling. "Get your hands off her." He didn't even look at me. He was reaching down, maybe to drag her away, maybe just to scare her. I never found out. My Glock 19 was tucked behind my back, concealed under my shirt. I drew it without thinking, arms steady, every sound fading except my heartbeat. "Step away from her," I said. Cole froze for half a second, then turned halfway toward me, still holding the hammer. I fired twice. The first round hit his thigh, the second grazed his shoulder. The hammer dropped, clanging against the wood as he screamed and crumpled. His partner's eyes went wide. Hands up, shaking, muttering he didn't sign up for this. I kept my pistol trained on both of them while I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. "This is a homeowner in Ravenwood Pines," I said, voice tight. "Armed trespass. One injured. My wife's pregnant and hurt. Send deputies and medics now. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe because the story is only going to get better. By the time the deputies arrived, the scene looked like a war zone. Emily sat on the porch steps, hand pressed to her side, breathing hard. The EMTs checked her vitals. She and the baby were safe. The man I'd shot, Cole, was on the ground groaning, leg wrapped tight in a field tourniquet. I stood beside the railing, hands raised, Glock 19 on the porch table, slide locked open. Sir, step back, the lead deputy ordered. I did, slow and calm. Weapons safe, I said. They secured the hammer lying on the deck before cuffing Cole's partner, who kept yelling that this was official HOA enforcement. The deputy, a tall woman named Ramos, turned to me. You the homeowner? Yes, ma'am. Do you have a permit for that firearm? I pulled my wallet and handed her both my concealed carry license and gun registration. She read the serial number, compared it, then gave a small nod. Thank you for cooperating. This will stay in evidence until the DA reviews the case. I exhaled. He attacked my wife. She fell. I fired to stop him. Ramos nodded. Under Texas Penal Code 9.32, that qualifies as justified use of deadly force, protecting another from serious harm. They took photos of everything, the watering can, the hammer streaked with mud. Emily's hand never left mine. By late afternoon, the sheriff himself arrived. Mr. Larson, he said, we've reviewed the ring footage. You're cleared. Looks like they weren't here for any official business. They were enforcing fake HOA rules. The real HOA board just confirmed it. The next week, everything unraveled for them. Cole survived surgery and was booked from the hospital in handcuffs. He and his partner were charged with aggravated assault, criminal trespass, and attempted destruction of private property. But that was just the start. The county attorney launched an investigation into the entire HOA. Turns out Karen Mercer, the HOA president, had authorized the inspection without a single legal document. She'd even promised Cole a $2,000 compliance bonus if he could get the Larsons in line. Text messages proved it. When the DA was done, 6 board members faced civil conspiracy charges. The HOA's liability insurance refused to cover intentional acts, which meant every dollar came out of their own pockets. A month later, our attorney filed a civil suit, wrongful entry, assault, and emotional distress. The settlement came fast once the evidence hit the county news. The HOA's lawyer called it the fastest collapse in local history. We were awarded $185,000 in damages, enough to cover Emily's medical bills and legal fees. The HOA dissolved within 2 weeks. Karen resigned publicly, crying on camera, claiming she never meant for things to go this far. The sheriff later told me the state revoked Cole's private enforcement license permanently. He'd never legally hold a hammer in anyone's yard again. That night, as I locked the porch gate, I looked at the spot where Emily had fallen. The boards were replaced, clean and solid. The air was quiet again. No trucks, no shouting, just peace. And as I stood there holding Emily's hand, I knew one thing for sure. The next time someone claimed HOA authority on my land, they'd think twice before stepping past that fence.